Hi there and welcome to my screencast for my final game project. The first section here, I'm just going to explain a little bit about my idea. So I'm basing my work off a game called The Finals by Embark Studios. It was released late last year and fell in love with the game and decided to make a new content drop for this game. Usually the way that they drop content is they will make a new fake company that sponsors the game because the game is a game show within a game. And then that sponsor will bring in a new map related to the sponsor as well as a few new gadgets or changes to the game. So my company is called Nevera. It's a clean energy company that uses small stars called protostars inside of batteries in order to power headsets infinitely. So it's like a renewable energy source that constantly infinitely renewable. It keeps going around, never runs out. And the idea behind it is that this company wants to make a national grid from this technology. However, larger use of these batteries is more unstable, and they want to be able to test some scientific space-related theories on how they could regulate this sort of energy on a bigger scale. Appendix A in the document will explain more about how I intend to create gadgets related to these scientific theories. Essentially, my assignment comprises of 2 new grenades, a new map, and the company that goes along with it, but that was more preview. So without further ado, let's go on to the mechanical showcase so I can actually show off the result of these mechanics and replicating some of the final's own gameplay mechanics as well. Hi there. So this is the mechanical design section of my screencast. I want to show off all of the gameplay implementations I created, as well as new mechanics. We'll just load in here. And the first thing that I want to point out is actually the sound design within the game. As you can hear, there's little pings going off. I've actually gone into finals, recorded their sound effects, and link them up appropriately to the objects. So right now, these cash deposit boxes, also known as cash boxes in the game, are making that idle sound. The first thing that I implemented that's seen in finals is the telekinesis. Telekinesis meaning I can pick up any object if I look at them and press F. Now I have the object, it makes the whirring sound seen in the game. And specifically with the cash boxes, they actually have money inside. So when you throw them at a wall, you can hear them sloshing their money around there. We'll put this aside for now. Obviously, any static object can be used in the same way. I can throw them. It's a lot of fun. Just for a gimmick, I actually made the propane tank, which are used as weapons within the game, and on release will fly away and explode. When it comes to my abilities, I've actually created both the C4 and the mine within the game, just as seen within the finals. If thrown on the floor, will attach itself to any surface. Also plays the audio seen in game and functions just the same. If I were to get another one and throw it on the wall, it'll stick appropriately and explode upon touch. With the C4, it's slightly different. I throw that down, it does exactly the same. The only difference is, rather than walking over the top, I just recast the button whilst holding the C4. And to get one back, I simply just re-equip and throw again. And it can be activated, of course, from anywhere else. This can also be stuck to static objects that I can throw and then detonate upon throw. The 2 next gadgets that I'm going to show you are actually completely original to myself. These are the 2 that I came up with to solve issues that I found in game from being a avid player of the finals. One of the biggest issues in the finals is that if a mine were to be placed on the floor, the only way to get rid of it is to either shoot it or to walk over it. Now, walking over it, you'll take the damage. Shooting it, some of them don't go away right away. We have gas mines and pyro mines, which set the area on fire or fill the area with a plume of gas. If you shoot those, they're still going to activate. And there's no real way to get rid of them unless you have a trophy system down already in place. Now, I wanted to make a way that you could get rid of them. So the first way we have is with the black hole grenade. Just over here, I'll show you. As you can see, we have a grenade spline. I can adjust it using the middle mouse button. That's just more for prototyping reasons. This will show the flight path of the grenade. So this black hole grenade, upon throw, will travel to the area. And once it hits the first surface, it will actually smash open into a black hole, which I'll be quiet for so you can hear it. So as seen there, we do have the Niagara system in play, making the black hole. It also has an attraction, as you can see there. I'll explain that. So the main reason that the black hole grenade has been added is in order to displace and consume different objects. With the black hole grenade, if a player is to stand into it, they will actually be pulled into the center. I've also added voices in the center to give a more eerie feeling to it, as if there's some unknown presence within the black hole. That was just more for my own satisfaction. Its other main use is to actually get rid of gadgets. So if I were to throw one onto this mine, or in the near area of the mine, like say here, it'll actually attract and consume the gadget. It does the same with the C4s, like this. And of course it can attract other objects like myself, but because I'm not a gadget, it will not consume me. It's more just used to hold me in the center. Now there's multiple ways that this can be used. Say if someone is trying to steal the cash out, then you can actually throw it behind the cash out. They will be pulled from the range of the cash out and therefore not able to steal, which is shown off in the trailer actually, and just clearing hallways that you might want to run through. So the second gadget was created to not only reinforce that problem with the mines, but also to fix another big problem. So to show off the scenario that I'm about to mention, I'm actually going to pick up one of these. I've actually made fully functional cash outs within the prototype. The cash can be inserted from any side of the box. It'll begin the cash out, as you can see. In order to actually steal the cash out, you need 5 seconds. Now, as you can hear, the stealing sound is playing. And once it's stolen, the lights will change to appropriately match my team. And at the end, it's gone. However, if I give you a scenario where the cash is in, but you aren't given enough time to steal, this happens all too often within the game. So the cash is in. You're currently in a gunfight. You and your team managed to win the gunfight. However, it takes 5 seconds to steal. So if I were to try and steal now, it's not going to steal in time because it's going to disappear. That happens a lot within the game. You're the team that has won the fight and yet you don't get to reap the rewards. So I actually made a freeze grenade which will freeze the cash out in time as well as gadgets. So the first thing I'll show off is gadgets. It's harder to show with the C4 because it will just deactivate your ability to explode the C4 as a player. However, as seen earlier, if you walk over the mine, it'll explode. But once thrown the freeze grenade, it deactivates them and you can freely walk over them. Once the freeze ends, the mine is back on, you can walk back over it, and the C4 is explodable as well. The actual ice grenade itself will expand upon hit. This is a proof of concept because I'd actually like it if it actually froze over things, but it's not as easy. The final thing I actually want to show you is the freeze grenade being used to pause the cash out. So if I were to throw a box in there, I can pick up my freeze grenade, throw it on the cash out, and it will actually freeze it in time. As you can see, the timer isn't going down and the icon has been frozen. This can repeatedly be done by different teams, but obviously you'll only have a certain amount of grenades in your arsenal. And the good thing about this gadget is that despite it being frozen in time, you can still steal. So if I let it go down to the last 5 seconds, if I throw it and instantly start stealing, I'm going to be able to get that steal in before the timer ends. And then my team still gets to reap the rewards of winning the fight. So that's about as much as I have to show for the mechanical showcase, and now I'm going to go on to the level design. Okay, so I wanted to take some time to speak about the map. So the map is based on Houston Space Center from Houston in America. One reason why the map is Houston Space Center is because of Nevera, the company that I've made up. They're to do with space travel as well as clean energy. So having a space-themed map only seemed fitting. Another reason is because I've seen many photos of this destination before. The actual building itself looks like a really interesting location for a finals map. And because finals tend to use real-world locations or inspiration from real-world locations, it just seemed like a very fitting place to put in the game. I'm going to fly down and try and show off the map a little bit. So we have a bit of a front entrance here into the main plaza. I tried to be as accurate on the inside with the building. When it came to doing the outside of the building at the start, or the exterior of the building, sorry, was modeled using the actual map itself. I got a visitor's map, made it super big. I'll show the visitor's map on the screen. Made it super big and put the floors in using that map. And then when it came to doing the interior, I actually got as many photos from different angles as I could, mashed them together on a big mirror board, which I will show here right now, so that I could see the building from every perspective on the inside, so that I made the walls correctly and fleshed out the rooms correctly. You'll see that some areas have slight set dressing. This was all for proof of concept. With these galaxy lights here, this was actually a part of Houston Space Center for one of their promotional events. And through the mirror board, you can actually see the building in lots of different stages throughout the years. So the galaxy lights being here was only for a seasonal section. However, it was a focal point that I really liked about the building. I imagined it in the game and was like, I'll put a proof of concept in because I'd really like this particular section to be a part of it. As we go through to the canteen is probably the one room I spent the most time on. I think it was a really good room to flesh out and make a bit more polished. Just the small, finer details that I've put into this room to make it look a bit more authentic. One big thing when it came to the lighting. Now, the lighting was completed nearer to the end of the project. I spent a lot of time on mechanics, which I showed off earlier. Ended up having to light this a bit later on. However, due to the finals nature of having fully destructible environments, I kept that in mind and thought it would probably be best to have dynamic lighting. Now, that can be a very taxing process on the processors on a computer when it comes to running a game with fully dynamic lighting. As a result of this, I've kept spotlights to a minimum. This room has quite a few spotlights. That's more of a proof of concept again. However, every small light here is just emissive texture. Another example would be in here. We have very low lit emissive textures. Ceiling lights, they're all just powered by lumen through emissive textures. If this building were to be used within the game, the whole building would be destructible and therefore the lights would have to be dynamic. If you bake static lights into the environment, it would look incorrect once you actually come to destroy the building. So the lights have to be able to adapt to real time. The building itself, every room is pretty much accurate aside from the rooms that are not open to the public. So staff areas I've actually just left blank. This is one of the theater areas. If you come through, there's a low lit shuttle area. And the vault over there. Down through here, this is a staff area that isn't disclosed to the public. So you'll find that a lot of the staff areas, like this one and this one, I've kept extremely well lit. I would assume that a staff area would be the one well lit place, whereas they like to have atmospheric lighting within the actual museum itself. As you can probably see, the environment itself, you might be able to understand why I chose this building. It was simply just because the building itself has so much potential for fluidity throughout. Gameplay flows really nicely. You'll see when I'm flying around, objectives have been placed in different areas to show how nicely spaced out it can be. When it came to actually placing the objectives around, I used the map that I used initially to lay the walls out to actually choose where they are. I'll actually put up here the map. It's also in the document, but just so you can quickly see it. Obviously, making sure that icons are spread out evenly throughout the map is a big part of the game. One thing I do want to show outside is one of the focal points of the map, which is the shuttle plane. This does exist in the actual museum. I feel like this is one of the big reasons I chose it when I was looking for space-inspired places to make into a map. I can imagine this being in the finals, and I've put one of the objectives on the back. Having people actually interact and fight around this would be amazing. Over here, we've got some huts, will be spawn points. I've made a lot of areas that kind of stick out on the outside of the map. So we have another area out here, just there. Over here, there's these little huts, the front door here, a lot of different focal points where you could have spawn points, which is another big factor of making sure this map flows well. Overall, I'm really happy with how this map's actual construction turned out. I do wish that I had more time to set dress. If I was given more time, I'd try and set dress the whole place. Unfortunately, due to not being an artist, modeling and actual art isn't my strong point, so it would take a lot of sourcing. All the assets that I have used within this level are referenced in my asset list, which is handed in with these files as well. If I had more time as well, I'd like to try and more understand how the finals themselves use lighting in a dynamic fashion whilst keeping processing down, because finals is a demanding game. However, it still manages to run pretty efficiently for the fact that it has full dynamic lighting. And that is everything that I have to show for you. Please do read through my document. I'm sure you probably already have or are about to. I go into much more detail about the production process, and you can also see some notes on the origin of the idea as well in the appendix. And do check out the trailer. It's only short, but I think it serves a great purpose for proving how this content would nicely fit into the finals itself. Thank you.